What's up, guys? It's your boy Zowoki back with another crime talk video, and another case that definitely hits me at home for some reason, somehow, is Gaby Petito and Brian Laundrie. This case still does not make sense to me. How Brian apparently came home without Gabby, said he didn't know where she was. He went missing. I think, and a whole bunch of other people think, that he was in a somehow homemade makeshift bunker in his parents' backyard. We're going to take a look at all that information, and also looking at an video from Christina Randall where she was updating us, telling us from a friend about all the shocking and secrets that were part of this Gaby Petito murder and Brian Laundrie's parents that were pretty much covering up the murder with him to make it look like he did nothing. So before we go any further, if you guys could do me a solid favor, is subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one. You guys go get that little ring notification that I posted that video, and you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And with that being said, let's take a look at the videos. So the first one we're going to start off with is going to be the updates with Brian Laundrie. Yes, this happened like 2 to 3 years ago, but some of these cases just come up, and murder mysteries and stuff like that, and I like watching them to kind of figure out like the plot, the ending, and like who killed who and who murdered who. It's kind of like a twist. It's almost like a game of Clue, where you're trying to figure out who murdered this person, with what, in what room, at what time. It's just kind of like a CSI thing. And a lot of things do not make sense with this case, as in all the other cases that we watch and view. And Brian Laundrie, I definitely do believe, obviously, killed Gaby Petito in a fit of rage. He didn't do it by accident, which he did put in a notebook, which I'll post that video down below. Stated that he did it as an act of true love, because he didn't want Gabby to be in pain, because apparently she was in pain, and so he ended it. I call BS. So with that being said, his parents got involved to try to cover things up, because apparently he went missing. But lo and behold, his parents had these weird looking flower beds in the back. Some hands were being popped out and coming. There was nothing in the flower beds. We're going to take a look at that all here right now. So grab a chair, grab some popcorn, and let's get into the first video, which is Christina Randall's right now. Let's take a look. Also, make sure you guys go over to her channel, give her some love by subscribing, commenting, liking, and sharing. This woman definitely knows her stuff. She puts it together fantastic, and I definitely want to give her some love as well for putting this together for us to enjoy, watch, and bring her opinions and evidence to light. So
do you know anything about what happened to Gaby Petito?
They never
Why aren't you
talked
talking?
to the
Why
news.
aren't you out looking for your son?
Because their son is in the backyard.
Your son?
That's his
Before
Mustang, by the way.
Today's video, I did want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody, everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere.
That's why I like her channel too. She's very respectful.
Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance in hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. Hope you all have had a wonderful week. Y'all, if y'all hear that crying in the background, let me show y'all the newest member to my family. And this thing right here is at my feet constantly. Hold on. Come here, Jasper. This is Jasper. Jasper Randall. I know it. Life is so tough for you, isn't it? I know. You can't be held 24 hours a day. I know it. Y'all want to see? How sweet is he? He's a sweet
It's
boy.
a sweet little baby.
So we are back at it again with a Gaby Petito video part 2.
Such a
I know
beautiful
last
girl.
week I told y'all this week we would be back true crime story times. However, my inbox and emails and everything has been blowing up requesting for me to do
Mine too.
an updated video to the video that I did earlier this week on Gaby Petito being missing. So here we are with an update. Before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor. Seen part 1, which I'm pretty sure all of you have.
Nope, not yet.
Please go and watch part 1 so you can get all caught up. But other than that, just a very tiny...
If you guys want me to watch part 1, let me know. We're looking at pretty much the stuff about Brian Laundrie's parents. We know that Brian killed Gabby, but we want to know what more is about Brian's parents and his withholding and his secret bunker and why his parents weren't talking and so forth. That's why we're here.
Tiny recap. At the end of part 1, I showed footage of the lead investigator doing a press conference and saying that a body that fit the description of Gaby Petito had been found in the area in the Wyoming park that they were searching for her in. Now, I know that it was not confirmed immediately that it was her. They just said that they thought it was her. And that's because they have like legal things they have to go through. They have to take the body in, you know, have the teeth matched or, you know, all of that stuff to have it officially deemed that it was Gabby. However, you may have not known this, but her stepfather, when I included this video right here, this was her stepfather. He went to Wyoming to be with the search crews while they were searching for her. He said that he went there in case they had any questions or he could help in any way. Being a father, and she has an amazing father too. So she's got Gabby has an amazing father and stepfather and mother and stepmother that loves her. She's got a lot of people that love her. So the stepfather was there. So I just had to have guessed that they were not going to mistake Gabby with the stepfather there to identify. And if you guys watched the video of the press conference, the man was like choking up. He was holding back tears. He was upset. And it made most of y'all emotional to watch and me as well. Gabby's body has definitely been found. And since then, they have deemed this a homicide. The full autopsy report has not been released yet on the cause of death, but they have pretty much assumed that she didn't do anything to herself, that something was done to her. Now, if you guys watched the first video, then you know that Brian Laundrie, her boyfriend / fiance, has still not spoken to the police. And actually, as of now, he is missing. That's a whole thing we're going to get into today.
That's why we're here.
Before we get on to Brian, though, I just want to kind of wrap things up with the finding of Gabby. They were able to see her from a drone, and I don't know if that's exactly how they found her, if it was the people boots on the ground or the drone. However, that's how visible her body was out there, that they could spot it from a drone. Now, those drones are amazing, so I don't want to say anything like that, but they could see it from a drone. And it is said that she has been out there for weeks. So I just can't imagine the stepfather who had to identify what he saw. Like,
and Brian left her there.
Horrible,
that's what pisses me off.
Horrible. So since then, one of the 911 phone calls that was made, okay, if you guys watched the first video, then you saw that Gabby and Brian got pulled over while traveling because 3 different people called in a domestic dispute. Now, it was said originally that that they didn't know who was fighting. It was just a domestic dispute. When the police got there to pull them over, Gabby was extremely emotional and crying and taking all of the blame onto herself. And Brian was very much seemed kind to his girlfriend, but he was not really taking much blame of anything. The 911 phone call has been released, and somebody, when they called the cops, they said that they saw a man slapping a woman and she was crying. Well,
which Gabby did
that
have
is
marks
definitely
on her
not
face.
The story that we heard. Let's listen to this.
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Okay, you said it's a
Never
white
hit a
van?
woman.
And when I was discussing this with one of my really good friends, it makes you wonder, did the dispatcher let the cops know that a witness saw the male hitting the female?
They should have arrested
or
him.
did the dispatcher just say, I need you to check on a domestic dispute? Because that would make a big difference in if the cops handled the situation in the right way or not. I think we should definitely cut them some slack in this, because all the cops had to go by, if they didn't know about the person calling
Was
in as a witness
domestic
saying that they
abuse.
saw the male hitting the female, all they had to go by was what Gabby and Brian was saying, okay? And Gabby was saying that she was the aggressor, and Brian was saying that she was the aggressor. A lot of us that have been in narcissistic, abusive relationships
sounds like him.
can spot that type of thing a mile away. Okay?
And the funny thing is people stated that Brian looks a lot like Chris Watts, which the resemblance is a little uncanny, but it's pretty close. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, because people that are narcissistic or sociopaths, they will literally manipulate you to where you believe it is always your fault. Now, I'm not saying she didn't hit him back. Obviously, he had marks on
Probably
him.
stick up for
but
herself.
he dang sure didn't say nothing about him slapping her. And he dang sure didn't say anything about him yelling at her in a restaurant either and making her cry. And she was sitting on the curb. Did y'all hear about that?
We were at this restaurant, you guys, Friday, August 27th, 1 p.m., sitting right next to them. They got kicked out of the restaurant and were fighting with the hostess. They were fighting with the hostess. She was hysterically crying, and she walked out, and she was crying, and she was staying on the sidewalk, and I was watching the whole thing unfold. And he walked back in the restaurant, and he's fighting with the hostess. And I didn't know what happened. I don't even know if they got kicked out, but they like left abruptly. And like she was standing on the sidewalk crying, and he walked back in and was like screaming at the hostess, and then walked back out. And then he walked back in like 4 more times to talk to the manager and to like tell the hostess off. And like
what?
All right, I'm calming down, and I'm going to try to
Breathe.
speak more clearly.
Breathe.
I feel like I'm gonna cry. This is so fucking weird. I went to the bath. They were sitting right next to us, like right fucking next to us. And we were both sitting right by the hostess stand, right by the front door. I went to the bathroom. I came back, and they were like abruptly leaving, like something happened. At first, my first thought was like they were displeased with the service and they were walking out, or they were trying to get out of paying their bill, but it was kind of like a scene. And the way he was acting, she was crying, she was upset. This had to have been right before she died. So she walks out, she's upset, she's crying, and he's like more angry. Like you could tell like it's more sadness for her, and she's crying for some reason. I don't know if she was embarrassed or what, because I don't know. I put it here. I don't know what was going on. I could just see what was unfolding. And so she's standing on the sidewalk. I could see her through the front door, and she's standing on the sidewalk crying. And he walks out with her, but then like right away turns around, walks right back in, and he's, you know, kind of like violently like talking to the hostess, and you could tell he's angry. And they're just kind of like doing the whole like sorry, like we don't know what to tell you kind of thing. You could tell he was relentless. He wouldn't drop it. Whatever it was, he wouldn't drop it. He walked out. He walked back in the restaurant probably 4 more times, just to kind of make a scene and just to get his point across, which, you know, I don't know what that was. I really don't know what happened, but she just apologized. I think she was telling him like, come on, like just drop it, let's go. And she like looked at the hostess, and she was just like I'm sorry. And that was it.
All the signs that are there.
Like
all of them.
I don't even know. I don't even have words right now.
How heartbreaking, you know, especially after you've seen the video of Gabby, you know, and she was saying like how he didn't believe in her dreams and didn't think she could do it. And then, you know, that was on the 12th. And these people said that they saw them fighting on the 27th at 1:00 in the afternoon, which makes me wonder, well, first of all, it makes me wonder what all Gabby went through, poor baby. But it also makes me wonder, you know, because those other YouTubers saw the van there on the 27th, okay, that it was just parked there. Did
Nobody
they leave
was in
that
it.
restaurant and finish fighting and something happened? I have my theories of what I think happened, but
I got
I'm not
mine.
going to say them just yet. And let me tell you guys why. Brian is still missing.
He's
We're gonna
alive.
get to that. But he has not spoken to the cops at all. So he has not
lured up.
told a story, not one. He is still missing. The cops in his county thought that he was at his house, but he wasn't. So come to find out, last Friday, his parents called the cops and said that their son Brian was missing. And the cops are like, what? Because see, they thought they knew where
Which
he was. They got
bull crap.
police cam-
No, he was in a little bunker that was made underneath the ground to hide him because they showed how much evidence that a hand was coming up, and they were like sending him water. They were sending him food. He was underneath this thing. And I'll show you actually that people do have these for like drug cartels and stuff like that to move drugs and stuff like that underground. But they actually had this built because if you look at different pictures before and after, whatever, this garden didn't show up until Brian came back home. I will even show you. So let's continue with Christina, and then I'll show you at the end.
In front of his house. They think they know exactly where he's at. Well, the parents say no, he actually left to go hiking on Tuesday at this big park. This place that Brian allegedly went hiking at has a ton of it that's underwater. There's a lot of swamps, there's gators, it's Florida. There's all of that. So the parents say, okay, he's been gone since Tuesday and now he's missing. Come to find out, the parents went up to this park and drove his Mustang home. Okay, so Brian, allegedly, according to the parents, says, hey, Mom, I'm going to go hiking, drive my Mustang and go hiking while everybody's looking for my fiance while she's missing. I'm just going to go hiking, okay? Like you ain't done enough hiking in the past few months anyways. This is their story. We're going to let them tell it. Mom, Dad, I'm going to go hiking. Drives up there. Allegedly, the parent says he was gone for so long, so they drove up there to look for him. He wasn't there. They saw his car was still there, so they just happened to have a spare key, whatever,
and drove it home.
Drive his car back home.
Without him.
Then they wait there a few days. Then they call the cops and say, he's missing. We went and got his car.
Bull.
Really?
Makes
really
no sense.
So neighbors have come out since then and said that about a week after Brian returned home.
Yeah, well, I was doing some work in the front yard, and I noticed that they got a new camper for the back of the pickup.
Yep.
And I didn't think anything unusual. They got a new camper, so they wanted to put their own touch inside of it. I saw them doing some work. And then when they prepared for their trip, I saw them loading the camper.
Now you're talking about Brian and his parents after he returned home, is that correct? In a different camper?
Yes.
Okay.
The van is his.
Which they completely cleaned the van. Like there was no evidence whatsoever at the end. They parked in the garage. It was completely cleaned by Brian's parents, and their evidence was gone.
His father has a pickup truck, which they purchased a in-bed camper.
Like an attachment camper. And then you say
yes.
that they packed up that camper, Brian and his mom and dad, and they went camping. Do you know that for sure?
We saw them. I saw them loading it up, and so I assumed they were preparing for a camping trip with their new camper.
They were gone for the weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, so how long after he got back, alone in that white van, how long after that was this, when you saw them working on this other camper and getting ready to go away together?
Yeah, I can't remember, the dates.
Week and a half.
Yeah, probably week and a half. I agree with that.
So
yes.
did the police ever talk to you about what you saw, the parents and Brian working on this new camper and then leaving for a few days? Did they ask you about that?
I believe that we did give them that information. You know,
We did tell them that they had gone on a camping trip for 3 days for the weekend.
Did you think there was anything unusual about that?
Well, to
after
me,
we knew they were missing, after Gabby was missing, when they came to our house on Saturday night a week ago and told us they were working a missing persons case. Then,
Also, which struck me as odd, as I spoke to my wife about, is that the parents going on a trip, I can see that, but taking their 23-year-old son in a small camper that's on the back of the truck struck us as odd.
Where did they take this boy? Where is he at? Or young man, where is he at? You know what I don't believe? I do not believe that he's in that park that they're searching. I think that leaving that car there and all of that is to keep the police off of his tracks so he could get away and be wherever he's at. And in the meantime, you know what I think they're doing? I think they're watching to see what all evidence is going to come out. Like all these people that are saying, oh, I saw him here. I saw them there. I think they're doing this to see what all they're going to know so he can come up with his story of what happened. That's what I think. And I'm not going to say what I think happened.
I agree with
But I think that this is all part of a plan. I do not think he is lost in this area.
They said he found his body.
Days.
I don't think they did.
I don't think so. I really hope that nothing bad has happened to him.
We don't want that to happen.
I really hope too that Gabby's parents can get closure some way, somehow, because this is devastating. Something else I want to bring up is Gabby's best friend, Rose, has spoken out as well. She's done a couple interviews. I'll leave them linked down below. And she was talking about how Gabby and her met because when Gabby moved to Florida to be with Brian, to move in with Brian's parents with him, Gabby went on that same app that Alexis Sharkey was on, that Bumble Making a Friends app or whatever. And they connected on there and they started meeting at an ice cream parlor. And before you know it, Gabby and her friend Rose, they had become best friends.
Roughly 2 years ago, I got a message on Bumble for Friends, and it you seem so cool, I want to be your friend, can we be friends? And I was like, of course. And from there we started hanging out every day, and it's kind of weird to say I met her on Bumble for Friends. People always laughed at us for that, but hey, glad she came into my life.
What was their relationship? Or what is their relationship?
Thank you. On the outside, he's very charismatic, so it seems very loving, and of course, like any relationship, there was
I don't think she liked him.
She'd come stay at my house when there was arguments, just to like get away from it, you know, and I didn't ask much questions, because if she wanted to tell me, she could tell me, you know.
How many times did she come and stay with you?
I couldn't give a number, but I mean...
Sounds like a lot.
Within the first year, I mean, I want to say at least 7 to 10 times.
Do you remember any one particular incident which you were particularly upset about?
Yeah, well, we were supposed to go line dancing. It was ladies' night. And her drive is about 30 minutes to me. And halfway there, she realized her ID was missing. And so it caused a really big argument because Brian just didn't want her to go out. And there was a jealousy issue, and it caused a huge argument between them, and she came over.
Sounds like he was very controlling.
Cried and just talked to me about what happened and told me all that she was comfortable telling me.
Did you feel with them?
Everything she did, I feel like, you know, he thought was wrong, and even support her with her blog, which that's not what a fiance or boyfriend does. They support you with anything you want to do, and that in itself, you know, made me feel like it just continued to get worse.
He snapped. He messed up and then tried to blame it on Gabby, and
Something else I thought was very intriguing about this was that Gabby's phone was turned off on the day that Brian returned back home. So on September 1st,
Shocker.
Gabby's phone went dead. Strange. Very strange.
Plus
also, the text message.
I would say the text messages before he showed up, like a few days before, did not sound like Gabby is what Gabby's parents said. And it just didn't correlate with like her lingo and how she, her mannerisms. None of that seemed right, and they already knew something was off. Brian shows up with the van. Gabby's not in it. They're like, what the frick? Let's get into it. So
message that Gabby's mom did not really want to say at first, that she said that didn't sound like her daughter,
was on August 27th. The text message read, quote, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." So Stan is Gabby's grandfather, but her mother says Gabby wouldn't have called her grandfather by his first name in those text messages. So that sent off an alarm in her head that something may be wrong with her daughter. Again, that all happening on August 27th.
Something else that I think is very, very interesting about this case, Brian's sister did an interview with the media before Gabby's body was found. She said she hadn't even talked to her brother, that she wanted to talk to him. She said that she loved Gabby and her children loved Gabby. She said her children also loved her brother, which is her children's uncle. And the interviewer said, you know, referring to the fight that was on the police body cam footage, the sister said that was normal for them. But she didn't say it in a, oh my gosh, they fought all the time. She said it in a very like, no, that's normal for them. They will fight, but they will also separate.
It's not healthy,
and
though.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem normal to me. To everybody else, all of this fighting seemed normal, except, and this is the part I find interesting, Gabby's family. Gabby's family never seen this side of Brian. They only saw the sweet, kind
he was putting on a show.
Gabby's father has said in interviews that the only thing that he saw of Gabby and Brian as far as a relationship is the same things that we can see in their Instagram photos. So everything is perfect, which is
not what it was.
You know, strange to me. And for the last part of this video, Brian's parents.
Shady as F.
I'm a boy mom. Okay, I'm very protective of my boys, and I'm gonna have their backs until the end of time. Now, if they're wrong, they're wrong. Okay, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna be there for you. But you wrong, you wrong. Okay, that's just what it is. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. My mind is just going a million miles an hour at how the parents, why they're not sympathetic to Gabby's family.
Nothing. No, nothing.
I mean, there's so many things they could do without incriminating their son that they're not doing. And it makes me, and it's both parents. It's the mom and the dad, which I can't help but to wonder if Brian's father is the same way Brian is. And maybe it's the mirroring relationship. Because for whatever reason, he came home, they got him a lawyer, and they have helped cover, seemingly, allegedly, I don't know. It seems like they have helped cover up
a lot
for him. And if it can be proven, they're going to be in big trouble. If it is true, and if that can be proven. I mean, come on, they went and got his vehicle. If your son was truly missing and you had to go and get his vehicle, and you didn't know where he was, he went hiking and
3 days
disappeared
later,
for days.
Oh, our
you don't
son's
report
gone.
him missing. And also, you're not down there searching for your child? That's weird to me.
Weird
if your son is
ever.
missing, why aren't you looking for him?
Because he's
Seems
in the backyard.
very, very strange. And last thing, and I'm going to end this video, and I'll see you guys next week. Can we just talk about the stark difference with what's going on with Gabby's parents? Okay? Gabby's mother, my heart goes out to her. I've been praying for these people every day. When I watched the interviews with Gabby's mother, you could tell she did not want to be doing this. No. She wanted her baby girl back. Okay? You could tell that she was doing it only at the chances that it would help find her daughter. She didn't want to be in front of the camera. She didn't want to be, but you could tell she sucked it up and got through it because it may help just a little bit to bring her daughter home. That's why it broke my heart to think about her during this, because I know all of them are hurting. So you've got the mom, the stepmom, the dad, and the stepdad talking to the media, going on Dr. Phil. You've got the stepdad all the way in Wyoming, boots on the ground, helping. He's calling out. You know, the media is asking about Brian. They don't want to talk about Brian. They wanted to talk about Gabby. They wanted to find Gabby, find Gabby, find Gabby. I want y'all to think about this. And then I want y'all to think about the Summer Wells case and the difference. If it is true that big media reached out to Dawn and Candace, look at how far it could have gone. They could have found their daughter if they really wanted to find her.
Probably.
You know what I mean? How weird is that?
So looking more into the case, when apparently their son went missing, one, they never talked to the media at all when it came to when Brian came home, when Brian went missing, anything about Gabby. They went to search on location for their son, brought his Mustang home. It never made sense. Now, when that happened, looking at their house when Brian came home and was starting to get investigated, if you look in the back of their yard right here, if I can bring it up for you guys. It's not working here. Hold on. There we go. So if you look in the back of their yard right here, okay, there's green shrubbery, but no garden, as you will, right next to this white building you guys can see right here. Just some brush and so forth like that. Now, if you look on the overhead, there's more plants and more shrubbery and so forth like that. But these were just put in when Brian went missing. Now, the way that people are stating that he's inside because there's no hand, there's a hand. There's no hand, there's a hand. She never was actually planting anything. She never was clipping. She made it look like they were doing stuff. And it's just ridiculous to look into, because looking at this, apparently this was a ladder that went down underneath the ground. And they, again, were looking at this flower beds and not actually doing anything. The gentleman was actually, or the father was just walking around, not really tending to the garden. She was doing little things here and there. But lo and behold, this is how you can make these so easily, is box it off, put it underground space. I mean, people were actually trying to show that this is a possibility, that Brian was underneath there the entire time. Now, eventually we did find out that apparently he went to the swamps. He had taken his own life because he couldn't be without Gabby anymore because of what he had done. So he did himself in. I don't call that for crap. I say BS. Now, I would like to know what you guys think. Please comment your guys' thoughts down below. Please let me know if your thoughts on the parents, on Brian. Did he go missing? Was he underneath? I mean, it's a far-fetched idea, theory. I'm not saying it's completely 100% true. I'm just saying there's a lot of stuff that's weird going on there. I mean, every single time the drone was coming over, they could see something moving inside the garden, which was so weird. She put a bottle of water in there. Why would you put a bottle of water in there? Because he's thirsty. I'm just throwing this out there. What are your guys' thoughts? If you want me to continue this case as well, like all the other ones that we do, comment, continue the Brian Laundrie and Gaby Petito, the secrets, the exposed parents or whatever have you. Let me know. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps out more than you guys know. And subscribe so we can get to that 100K goal on channel Zowoki. We just hit 25 and I can't do it without you guys. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Keep it real, keep it safe. And as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time.